Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another One Punch Man LSSR review video. So Metal Bat was released in the backup stick a couple days ago. I'm sure a lot of you guys, especially the ones that are spending, are interested in whether or not you should build Metal Bat. And of course, hopefully I can help you guys make a decision on that by the end of this video. But before we get started, I received a couple of comments on my previous Hero Backup Stick video stating that Metal Bat is not considered an LSSR because he was released in the form of packs in the Southeast Asia version. Of course, I already know this, but he had a banner on the CN server, which is the original Chinese server the game was launched on, the Taiwan server, as well as the Japan server. So the only server that did not have Metal Bat's banner would be the Southeast Asia server, and of course now the global server. So technically, he can still be considered an LSSR, therefore minus 72 black tickets. Why Moonton decided to not give him a banner, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Okay, let's get started with the PowerPoint before I start ranting more about Moonton and their stupid decisions. Starting off with the pros and cons. For the pros, he has a self-heal, tenacity, injury, and damage reduction. Quite a bit in one kit, for sure. And he's extremely tanky because of his damage reduction and self-heal plus his tenacity. In fact, I think he might actually be the tankiest unit in the game we have at the moment. Even more so than Carnage Kabuto and Super Alloy Darkshine, who are both quite tanky as well. And because of this, he can be used in both PvP and PvE. He also slots into Zombie Man core really well because of his tenacity and injury, which allows him to generate the total of 4 energy for the Zombie Man core. And last but not least, well, at least not least to a lot of people, he can bonk things, and who doesn't like someone that can bonk things? Okay, let's get into his cons. He requires a high amount of investment in order to function well. This is mainly because he's a main unit, just like Carnage Kabuto, CK. If you don't invest a lot into Metal Bat, he won't be able to tank well, and he won't do his job properly, much like Carnage Kabuto. He also has a relatively short meta span. He'll pretty much be irrelevant after Zombie Man meta. Like, his meta is literally just Zombie Man, and then once Gero comes out, there are a lot better, stronger LSSRs that will replace him. There are also budget-friendly tank options available in his place. Many examples include Carnage Kabuto, which I've mentioned multiple times already, Tank Top Master, Super Alloy Darkshine, and even to some extent Deep Sea King. They can all fit the role of a tank fairly well, and they don't require as much investment or are fairly easier to invest compared to Metal Bat. And the last con, of course, for everyone that's free to play, he's locked behind a paywall, minus 72 black tickets once again. If you're a small spender or a mid spender, like I said before, the Battle Pass is definitely worth it, so this is not really a con for anyone who's spending in the game. Next, we're going to talk about his skills. For his basic attack, he deals 120% of his attack damage to a single target, and restores 10% of his max HP, up to 3 times per turn. Now you might be wondering why it says up to 3 times per turn, can't you only basic attack once per turn? We're going to get into that right now and talk about his passive. So for Metal Bat's passive, the lower the HP, the higher the damage reduction. And he can reduce up to 50% direct and bonus damage, which is extra damage, after being attacked. If his HP is less than 80%, he counterattacks the enemy with a follow-up attack that attacks with 80% of his basic attack and effect. So this is why on his normal attack it says up to 3 times per turn, because he can perform follow-up attacks with his passive. Not sure why they didn't add this to his passive skill instead of putting it onto his basic attack, but regardless, all you need to know is that he can follow-up attack up to 3 times per turn. And of course, once you limit break him to 5-star, you'll get his extreme passive, which increases his max damage reduction to 55% for both direct and bonus damage, and it also allows his follow-up attacks to go up to 110% of his basic attack and effect. So I'm assuming this amps up his healing as well, because it says and effect. Overall, I'd say his extreme passive is pretty strong. The extra 5% damage reduction isn't going to do much, but the follow-up attack damage bonus and effect bonus will definitely make a difference. Okay, next let's talk about his ultimate. He attacks each enemy in a column, so it's a column attack, with 5 combo strikes for 150% of his attack, with a 50% chance to inflict injury on the target for 2 turns. They will take 50% injury damage equal to his attack, and this also grants him tenacity, which is equal to 10% of his HP. 50% is not a lot for an injury chance. If this was a guaranteed injury on his ultimate, this would make Metalbat actually a very, very powerful character. But since it's only 50%, you're kind of coin flipping things with that injury debuff. But regardless of that, if you ascend his keepsake to 3-star, you will get his Ultra Ultimate, which will increase his damage to 190% of his attack damage. And the injury chance goes up to 60%, which is not a lot, unfortunately. 10% is really, really bad. A 10% increase for a 3-star keepsake is pretty bad. And then, of course, his tenacity increases to 20% of his HP. Overall, that's not too bad. I'll take that. That's definitely a pretty big increase for his tenacity shield. Overall, I'd say his Ultra Ultimate is very strong just because of the 40% damage increase to his attack and the 10% increase to his tenacity shield. However, I doubt small spenders or even mid spenders will be able to afford his keepsake. Since we're not sure how it's going to be released, I doubt it's going to have a Black Shuriken ticket banner. They'll probably release it very similar to how they released Boros' banner, or they'll probably shove it onto the Claw Machine event. Next, let's talk about his build. For his gear, it's pretty straightforward. There's only 2 sets you really want to put on him, and that's Suit Set or Gangster Set, and he mostly wants HP main stat and HP percent substat times 4. However, if you're running a Gangster Set, you can swap in one of the HP pieces for an attack main piece and an attack percent substat piece. So you'd be running 3 HP percent and 1 attack percent. This will therefore allow his follow-ups to do a little bit more damage, although you might have to do some tweaking to see whether or not your Metalbat is tanky enough and is able to do enough damage with that type of build. Okay, next we'll talk about his talent sigils. For your damage sigil, he pretty much only wants Sharp Sword. I would not recommend going Ruthless, which is the one that increases injury damage, because he only has a 50% chance to injure the target with his ultimate. So therefore, I would pretty much only suggest Sharp Sword as the damage sigil. And of course, for your Sharp Sword sigil, you'll be getting flat attack and flat HP and attack percent at the later levels. For your support sigils, you want Vitality and Chaos. For Vitality, you'll be getting flat HP, flat attack, and HP percent at the later levels. Chaos will give you ult damage free, flat defense, unfortunately, and block rate at the later levels. And Chaos is more of an alternative support sigil. If you don't have enough high level Vitality sigils, or you're just lacking in Vitality sigils, Chaos is definitely a good alternative, because the ultimate damage free will definitely reduce a lot of damage you'll be taking in PvP. So to summarize things up, he's not worth investing or building for small spenders. So for people who are just only buying the Hero Backup Stick and the Cycle Rebate, I would definitely not recommend you guys build Metalbat. There are better budget options available, because he requires just so much investment in order to function properly. And this is mainly because he's considered a main unit. Like I've mentioned before, much like Carnage Kabuto, he's going to need everything invested into him in order to tank well and do enough damage. And because of this, unfortunately, he's easily replaced with either budget options, like I said before, Carnage Kabuto, Tank Top Master, Super Alloy Darkshine, Deep Sea King, or stronger future LSSRs. Some examples would be Goketsu, who will be coming out later on, Phoenix Man, who essentially functions similar to Zombie Man. He can tank and he can deal damage with his revive mechanic. And of course, in the far future, one of my personal fan favorites, Watchdog Man, will be a much stronger tank option than Metalbat. And because there's so many of these stronger future LSSRs that will be coming out, he becomes almost irrelevant after the Zombie Man meta. But regardless of all these negative things I've said about Metalbat, if you like to bonk, or if Metalbat is one of your favorite characters and you are spending in the game, by all means, build Metalbat, invest heavily into him, make him strong. After all, this is a game, and the whole point of playing a game is to have fun. So therefore, like I've said before, if you're a Metalbat fan, or you enjoy Metalbat's playstyle, build him to your heart's content. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this One Punch Man video. Hopefully this review has helped you guys understand Metalbat a little bit better, and has helped you decide on whether or not you should build him or not. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next One Punch Man video. Peace.